Hello, my name is Nancy Morgan, and I have the privilege of serving as the Executive Director of Playwrights Guild of Canada. It is my immense pleasure to welcome everyone who is joining us this evening for the 2022 Tom Hendry Awards Nominee Gala. Playwrights Guild of Canada honors and acknowledges the territory upon which our office resides, the traditional land of the Huron-Wendat, the nations of the Haudenosaunee Confederacy, the Métis and the Anishinaabe, including the Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation. We recognize and respect all recorded and unrecorded nations who cared for this land of Takarano, meaning where the trees meet the water. PGC is grateful for the opportunity to protect and care for the stories of this community, which is home to many Indigenous people from across Turtle Island. Tonight, we celebrate stories, new plays shared by talented playwrights from across the country. We celebrate this community and the 50th anniversary of PGC, and have invited people to share a memory or an inspiration throughout the evening. When I joined the team of Eastern Front Theatre 25 years ago, my first day coincided with the first day of rehearsals for Wendy Lill's premiere of Corker, directed by Mary Vingo and featuring Gay Hauser. I could not have known then that one day I'd be here at PGC, nor could I have fathomed the wonderful impact that being welcomed by that triumvirate of amazing women would have had on me and my family. I invite you to enjoy the evening and to share with PGC online, either by social media or a memory book on our website. Share your own favorite lines, memories, or inspiration from Canadian stories for the stage.
Hi, my name is Colleen Murphy. I've twice won the Carol Bolt Award for Outstanding New Play. Once for my play, The December Man, and once for my play, Pig Girl. It's a tremendous boost to one's confidence as a playwright to receive an award from a jury of playwrights. I had tremendous respect for Carol as a person and really admire that her spirit lives on in the legacy of this award. Also, thank you so much to the Playwrights Guild of Canada for promoting playwrights and continuing the hard work of getting us more money. Thanks so much.
My name is Lucas Foss, and I was awarded the 2013 Stage West Best New Comedy Award for my play Little Voices. I was surprised to win a one-person show. When I attended the award ceremony, it was clear that the presenters and the committee, I guess, understood the depth of Little Voices, and I found that a very encouraging experience. One of the Canadian plays that's always stuck with me is Greg Nelson's historical drama, Spirit Wrestler. This impression was most likely, a lot to do with me being an actor in this play, directed by Tom Bentley Fisher. Beating Duke of Boers in Saskatoon, and just really having a fully immersed experience. I'll just read a little bit here. And I am the time. He says, sadly, he says, he's a dreamer, your Nikolai. He's a little bit of a dreamer. I wish that I could have been there, Nikolai. Today in the fields, working in the sun. I would have been happy. I wouldn't have cared about anything. I would have felt my muscles moving under my shirt. I guess that's my time. So thank you so much for your day. Stop video.
Hi, my name is Damian Adkins. I'm a member of the Playwrights Guild of Canada. Yes, that is a picture of B. Arthur behind me. I was fortunate enough to win the Stage West Comedy Award at the Hendrys in 2018 for my play Misericordia. The best thing about winning that award actually was that it gave me time. It afforded me some time to keep working on the play and keep working on writing, which is hard when you live in an expensive city. It's hard to make a living, and time is what we need to write, time and space to think. I was thinking about lines from a play that really inspired me, and of course I thought of my friend Kristen Thompson, who is one of the most brilliant writers I know, and her play Someone Else. And I thought of these lines. This is a man who is in his 40s who is speaking to another man who, when they were kids, kicked him in the head and gave him a terrible brain injury. And they meet after all of these years. And his name is David, and he says to the guy, "Am I a head, a damaged brain? Is that what you think? Is this the boot talking to the brain? Fuck you, boot. Bootsy. That's what I'm gonna call you. Bootsy. I'm a fucking phoenix, Bootsy." Thank you.
Hi, this is Raymond Story. I'm here to announce the nominees for the Playwrights Guild Comedy Award. I'm coming to you from Broadview and Danforth in Toronto, where I acknowledge the original caretakers, storytellers, and comedians of this land, the Wendat, the Haudenosaunee, and the Anishinaabe First Nations, which include the Mississaugas of the credit. I joined what was then called the Playwrights Union of Canada in the early 1980s. At the time, I was living out in Edmonton, Alberta, which was experiencing an explosion of new play development, and I was privileged to come of age alongside playwrights like Brad Fraser, Connie Massing, Lyle Victor Albert, Michael D.C. McKinley, Frank Moore, Kelly Rebar, Stuart Lemoyne, and many others. I had just completed a term as the Vice Chair West of the Playwrights Union when I returned to Toronto in 1986. Jane Buss was our administrator then, ably assisted by Glenda McFarland, and it was Jane and Glenda who convinced me to run for the chair of the Playwrights Union. This was a time of continued growth for our organization, which saw the expansion of the publishing wing, the formation of the Women's Caucus, and the creation of what Jane dubbed the Foundation for Recognition of Excellence in Drama, or FRED. This was a time in Toronto when stages were experiencing the work of Sky Gilbert, John Crisank, Thompson Highway, Joan McLeod, Sally Clark, Dawn Hanna, George Walker, Judith Thompson, Danny Mciver, and Janet Sears, amongst others, all of whom were creating exciting new work. It would be impossible for me to pick just one artist who inspired me. They all did, and they all still do. The Playwrights Guild of Canada Comedy Award is given annually to a PGC member for a work that has not yet had a premiere production. Funding for this award has been generously provided by Playwrights Guild of Canada. Playwrights Guild of Canada would like to thank the jury, Deb Williams as the chair, and Amanda Cordner and Breton Lalama as the jurors. The nominees for the Comedy Award are Mad Madge by Rose Napoli, The Gig by Mark Crawford, The Tao of the World by Giovanni Sai. Congratulations to all the nominees.
Hi, Kate Hennig here. I received the Carol Bolt Award in 2017 for my play The Virgin Trial. And it made me think back to when I was a wide-eyed 19-year-old from Alberta arriving in Toronto, and all the buzz that was around still about Carol Bolt's play One Night Stand. And it made me feel like I was part of a legacy of Canadian women playwrights, and that feels really special. It also allowed me to think of myself in common with people like Linda Griffiths, who wrote a fabulous play called Maggie and Pierre with Paul Thompson, and Colleen Murphy, who is one of my heroes, and one of my favorite plays by her is The December Man. So maybe you can read those plays. Okay, I hope you have a great night. Thanks.
Hello there, PGC. We just want to thank you for picking our play Something Fishy for the Tom Hendry Award in 2014.
2014.
Long time ago.
Indeed. Well, we're very old.
The show's been premiered in 2016 at Lighthouse, and has since made us a big name in Poland, as you can see from his shirt.
Yes, we have a production running in Polish in Rep in Warsaw at Ock Theater, where a few of our other plays are playing as well. So we just want to say a big thanks for giving us a huge leg up with this award. It certainly helped in getting this play off the ground.
Thanks, and we're looking forward to another Canadian production next year. We can't tell you all the details of that, but thanks, and long may it continue.
Hi, this is Jesse Levercombe. I won the 2019 RBC Emerging Playwright Award for my 3-act play, Hallelujah, It's Holly. And winning the award was a thrill. I hadn't had much of anything produced at that point, so it was extremely encouraging. And when I got the call, they left a message and said, "It's the Playwrights Guild of Canada. Would you please call us back at your earliest convenience?" And I just naturally assumed that I had missed some type of due payment or something like that. So when I called back, expecting to kind of bust out my credit card and found out that I had won an award instead, it was a really great surprise. Another thing about the award I loved was I got to work with Nicholas Pion, who was my mentor, and he's just incredibly talented and smart and helpful, and has become kind of a friend, which is a real thrill. And finally, a line from a Canadian play that I really love is from Hannah Moskovich's Bunny, which is a show that I got to act in at the Tarragon a few years ago, and that line is, "Yeah, there's nothing wrong with you."
Hello, fellow Guild members. My name is John Lazarus, and I'm talking to you from Kingston, Ontario, which is situated on the traditional Anishinaabe and Haudenosaunee territory. We are grateful to be able to live, learn, and play on these lands. Before I announce the names of the nominees for the RBC Emerging Playwright Award, I have been asked to share with you some memories of my earliest days with the Guild, and also to recite one or two lines from a Canadian play or plays which inspired me to become a playwright. I've been with the Guild from the very beginning. I think I'm a founding member, and one of my earliest memories comes from an annual general meeting when two of Canada's greatest playwrights, then and now, Sharon Pollock and Carol Bolt, got into an argument. I don't remember what it was about, but I know it got personal. At one point, Sharon said, "Well, Carol, you're a writer and words are what you play with, but the reality is, da-da-da-da-da." I was appalled. I thought, oh my God, the newborn Canadian playwriting community is falling apart before our very eyes. When the meeting adjourned, Sharon got up and walked over to where Carol was sitting, and I thought, oh, here we go again. But Sharon said, "Drinks in the bar?" And Carol said, "Hell yes." And an hour later, when I happened to walk through the hotel bar, the two of them were sitting there laughing uproariously together. And I thought, oh, that's how that works. It's politics. As for the request for a couple of lines from a Canadian play that inspired me to start writing, you kids on the staff at the Guild are so adorable. You actually think every living playwright in Canada has been born into a magical world full of pre-existing Canadian plays. Well, In my 20s, in the early 70s, I encountered only 2 Canadian plays before I started writing them myself. In fact, I acted in both of them, and I can't remember a single word from either one. What really inspired me was meeting 2 Canadian playwrights. First playwright I ever met was a young woman in the back of a car with me on a Saturday night pub crawl through downtown Montreal when I was an acting student at the National Theatre School. She told me she was a theatre student, too, at Sir George Williams, now Concordia, and she'd written a Commedia dell'arte, 1-act, which had been produced on campus. This seemed magical. I was so impressed that someone my age in Canada had written a play that actually got seen by an audience. For 50 years, I kicked myself for not remembering her name. And then just last year, I stumbled across it on the internet while researching Richard Pachinko. The woman was Ellen Gauchi, and her play was called Cuckold, and that was the first playwright I ever met. The second was the renowned George Riga, who wrote a play called Compressions for a TYA tour that I was on with a Vancouver company called Playhouse Holiday. Unfortunately, we met him only briefly. A member of Riga's family was having medical issues, and he couldn't be in rehearsal to make script changes, and the play suffered for it. but it was very exciting to meet this dark, brooding, serious, middle-aged guy who was an actual professional Canadian playwright. Riga also influenced me indirectly because when his play The Ecstasy of Rita Joe opened in Washington, D.C., the New York Times sent a theater critic named Julius Novick, who wrote in his review, and this is an exact quote, "Canadian playwright. The words seem a little incongruous together, like Panamanian hockey player almost, or Lebanese fur trapper," end quote. I cut that line out of the newspaper and I taped it to my typewriter, and it motivated my playwriting for years. Of course, foreign critics no longer write contemptuous insults about Canadian playwrights, and in large part we can thank the Guild for that. So, happy birthday, Guild. Now, to the nominees. The RBC Emerging Playwright Award is open to any supporting or student member who has never had a professional production. It gives up-and-coming playwrights the opportunity to win a 6-month mentorship with a professional playwright of their choice, as well as a cash prize. Playwrights Guild offers a second and third place prize as well. Funding for the award has been generously sponsored by the RBC Emerging Artists Fund. Playwrights Guild of Canada would like to thank the jury, Laura Mullen as the chair, and Santiago Guzman and Natalie Meisner as the jurors. The nominees for the RBC Emerging Playwright Award are A Poem for Rabia by Nikki Shafiula, Crypt Hand by Lily Falk, and Sinkhole, or 6 Ways to Disappear, by Ajani Poirier. Congratulations.
A Poem for Rabia by Nikki Shafiula, Scene 13.
She wants to touch the water. She misses the riverbank in her village. She misses bathing with her sisters and doing the washing with her mother. She misses swimming. She misses being a child. She wants to swim. She's surrounded by water she can't touch. She's surrounded by water but thirsty. She is sick. She is sick. She is sick.
There you are, Puchki.
Oh, looking for me, were you?
Maybe. Oh, Rabia, the party was so grand.
Tell me, Anu.
Rabia pulls out a chair. Anu sits and removes her shoes. Rabia helps Anu remove her jewelry.
Mr. James and Mrs. Mary finally moved into their new home, and I must say it is spectacular. Enormous windows in the French style. Beautiful courtyard. Marble pillars. The carvings are a bit, but what do you expect?
Wow.
Everyone in Calcutta was there. Half of the court of directors of the British East India Company. Maybe more. Yes, I think so. The floors look very clean, Puchki.
Thank you. And how are the dresses?
Well, Lady Cynthia.
That's Sir Richard's wife.
Yes, her. Hers was my favorite. Billowing green silk and those curious puffy sleeves that I love. I counted. We were one of only 5 Bengali couples there.
And the food?
Plentiful, but bad mostly. Good dessert, but otherwise bland potatoes, sad little salads, roasted cow meat, and
beef.
Rabia, you wouldn't believe it. I had to stop Subrata from saying something to Mr. James. Will the spread at the next party be vegetarian? They'll cease to invite us if he keeps that up.
And really, is the meat really the most offensive part?
You know how Subrata can be. Petulant.
British food is like British people, repressed. And how was the entertainment?
Oh my goodness, Rabia. I could not wait to tell you.
Tell me then.
There were songs around the piano in the Great Hall. And then that little yellow-haired woman I told you about, the one who just arrived from Wales, she insisted on reading another one of her little ramblings she calls poetry.
Charlotte, yes?
Yes, Charlotte.
Oh, what was it? What was this one about?
It was about missing an apple tree.
The trees are a metaphor?
It didn't seem so.
Like maybe for a lover back in Wales.
That would have been better.
Or a yearning for the sweetness of her homeland.
It really seemed to be just about liking the fruit.
Oh. So, that's what you want to tell me?
Right. No. So, Charlotte was yammering about apples or whatever, and I see a few of the younger wives watching her with these smiles, these smug smiles.
In admiration?
In defiance, I think. I watch them, at these parties. When the men share their speeches and songs and poems, I don't look at the stage. I watch the audience. I watch where their eyes go. I watch to see if they're fidgeting or if they're breathless.
The real entertainment.
The real information. Most of the wives, the higher ranking ones, they don't seem to like Charlotte performing. You can see they are offended. But the younger ones stare at her wide-eyed, tongues out, clapping as if she's... What time is it?
1 a.m, it seems.
Already it's tomorrow?
Anu reaches into her bag and pulls out a mass wrapped in a white napkin. She parades it to Rabia and places it in Rabia's hands, then unwraps the top, revealing a big hunk of iced white cake.
Oh, Anu, you didn't need to.
Yes, I did.
This is too much for me.
Let's celebrate. When I turned 30 years old, my children had the cooks make me 30 small sweets. They were so proud of themselves. Another one, Ma, another one. The three of them around me and the cooks around them, watching me eat piece after piece. My stomach hurts at the memory.
Thank you for remembering.
Lucky for me, you've no kids or cooks to crowd us.
I'm all yours.
Fetch a plate.
Rabia finds a plate and a knife and brings it to the table. Anu plunks the cake on the plate, then scoops Rabia into her lap. They take the knife together, Anu's hand over Rabia's, and they cut a piece. Anu picks up the cake with her fingers and feeds it to Rabia.
That is very good.
Isn't it?
What?
Ready for your present?
Isn't this it?
I have something else.
Well, yes, give it.
Our poem will be published in the Edinburgh Review.
The what?
It's a journal, Butchki, with writing, essays, and poetry all together, and it's read by people not just in India, but all over Europe. So they've only ever published a handful of women before, and never an Indian woman.
Our poem.
It was fantastic, Rabia. Those younger wives who fawn over Charlotte, they saw me. They saw me. They saw me for the first time, and I'm not going to let them look away. Charlotte finished her blah, 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 and I don't know what came over me. It's like everything went black. I was pumping with energy, and I pushed my way to the front. Stood there in front of the whole party and read our poem. The morning never tires of the rain. Water soaks the dirt. Birds shout a new day. The drops carry stories from sea to sky. Drumming on the roof. News again today. Murky waves lead up to the horizon, past the black waters. Is there a new day? When did I become a storm? I thought I was a river playing away the day. I howl and weep and tear and dance and wash. And I, the spring storm, unearth a new day.
I don't know what to say.
I used all the intonations and hand gestures you like.
Right.
You know, when we sit here at night creating together, you moving and speaking and me writing,
Yeah?
they loved it, Rabia. The men gazing at me, the younger woman, eyes wide with awe and envy, and the older wives, you could see the anger in their eyes, and it didn't matter because everyone else was applauding thunderously.
That does sound amazing.
This man came over, said he was an editor for this review, and he loved the poem, and what a stir it could make to put it in an upcoming publication.
So it will have your name?
Yes. And it will be your words, Rabia, your words that the world will read, that will be printed, known for generations.
Right.
That's what's important, right, Rabia? For the words to live on?
Oh, was it to be the first Indian woman to be published in this thing?
No, what? Your words are powerful, and they deserve to be known. This is a gift for you, Rabia. Where is the gratitude?
I'm sorry, Anu. I am grateful.
This is gratitude?
Well, I never asked you to publish my poem.
Excuse me?
I never asked you to write down my words.
What do you mean you didn't ask?
I never asked you to write anything.
What
I was
do you mean?
happy.
Of course you did. Of course you asked me. You needed my help. I took
That's not
time
what
to help.
happened.
I
You
gave you my
decided you
time.
wanted to.
How dare
I
you?
didn't even...
It wouldn't even be a poem if I hadn't written it down.
I'm sorry, Anu.
Who are you now?
I am grateful. I'm so happy that our poem will be published. Really, thank you.
You're welcome.
Really,
Okay, good.
thank you, Puchki.
It's a pleasure.
Let's have some more cake. It is really good.
I knew you'd like it. It's late. I should go to sleep before he comes looking for me.
Of course.
Anu takes another bite of cake, puts down the remainder, wipes her mouth, and places the dirty napkin back on the table.
This was nice.
Happy birthday, Puchki.
Anu exits. Rabia cleans up the table. Rabia's journey continues across the water to the shores of British Guyana, to the next century, then the next. We move through time and space, hers, her descendants, and beyond.
Hi, my name is Amiel Gladstone. In 2014, Veda Hilly and I co-wrote Onegin, which was awarded the Peckett Family Musical Award. It came at just the right time. We were in such a state trying to get the darn thing up and in the throes of writing it. And as you know, musicals can be huge beasts. And this was such a great thing for us, both financially to have the money to finish it, and then also just the inspiration and community backing that pushed us forward to the finish line and premiere. So it came at the perfect time. These awards are, they were just the right thing for us at the right time. The play that I've been thinking about is Farewell by Ian Ross, a play that is hilarious and should be getting more productions. And there's a line that the characters are talking about the benefits of being Indigenous, two Indigenous characters talking to each other. And the one says, well, you won't go bald-headed. And we're teachers. We're going to teach the white people again how to live. Lots more white people are going to be poor. And they're going to be on welfare. And because we already know how to live on welfare, we're going to teach them how to live again.
Hi, I'm Paul Van Dyke, and I won the 2020 Tom Hendry Comedy Award for my play Siberian Summer. That same year, Siberian Summer was scheduled to be produced at the Segal Center for Performing Arts in Montreal. But like pretty much every other play that year, it got canceled. So what would have been the highlight of my career became the heartbreak of my career. Until Playwrights Guild of Canada presented me with this award, and all of a sudden all the years of work I'd put into this play, along with all the people who had helped me along the way, it was suddenly not for nothing. This award gave me an enormous sense of validation and in a big way inspired me to continue creating theater despite all the obstacles. Another big inspiration for me is all of my friends and playwrights, colleagues who continue to create amazing work. And one such friend is Kent Stetson. And I want to read a little quote from his play, Warm Wind in China. Bearing children is nothing, Mr. Davis. Raising them is having living strips of flesh torn from your back. I think this quote resonates with a lot of playwrights when we think of our plays as our children. Anyway, so congratulations to all the winners and nominees and anyone who wrote a play and submitted it to this competition. Just keep creating despite all the obstacles.
Hi, my name is David Ganyan Walker. I won the Emerging Playwright Award in 2018 for my play The Big Ship, and it meant a lot to me. It was a huge boost of energy and confidence at the time. It also allowed me to do a 6-month mentorship with Marcus Youssef, which in hindsight was hugely important to me. He taught me a lot about making things and about living while you make things. So I'm really grateful that I had that chance to get to know him through the award. I think it's a really important part of that award in particular. A lot of my books are in storage, so I can't quote too many lines right now, but I want to shout out Jill Connell and Jill's play The Supine Cobbler, which exploded my mind when I saw it in Toronto in 2015 and which has really influenced everything I've done since. Read that play. And a line that I can quote, because it's the epigraph to The Big Ship, so I have it handy, is from a project called Revolutions in Therapy by Stowe Union. Nadia Ross and Jacob Wren wrote the piece. They're both huge artists for me. And the line is, "It's really only the slightest difference. I accepted that things were impossible, and gradually, without even noticing it, things became possible again." So on that note, take care, be well.
Good evening from the Great Hall at the Arts and Letters Club of Toronto. My name is John McKellar, and I am pleased to be part of the Nominee Gala being watched across Canada during the 50th anniversary of the Playwrights Guild of Canada. We acknowledge the land we are meeting on is the traditional territory of many nations, including the Mississaugas of the Credit, the Anishinaabe, the Chippewa, the Haudenosaunee, and the Wendat peoples, and is now home to many diverse First Nations, Inuit, and Métis peoples. We also acknowledge Toronto is covered by Treaty 13 with the Mississaugas of the Credit. I'm here because I'm one of the directors of the Arts and Letters Club of Toronto Foundation. The foundation was established some 8 years ago with a mandate to advance education by providing scholarships, bursaries, and awards to Canadian residents for demonstrated excellence in the arts. The foundation has awarded more than $55,000 to emerging visual artists, architects, musicians, writers, musical theatre performers, and playwrights. The Robert Beardsley Award for Young Playwrights was established by a generous donation from Bob Beardsley. Bob was born in Colón, Panama, and he came to Canada in 1940. After graduating in engineering from Queen's University, he went on to Teachers College. Bob taught high school mathematics and later served as principal at Eastdale Collegiate Institute in Toronto. He was also a member of the Arts and Letters Club of Toronto, where he encouraged writers and artists. This year's shortlist for the Robert Beardsley Award for Young Playwrights is Soikan Carriol for Hammer and Chisel, Sidney Page Scott for The Titty Play, and Ganesh Thava for Collie Carey. Please join us on Sunday, October the 30th at 7 p.m. Eastern Time for the Tom Hendry Awards Gala. Thank you very much.
Crypt Hand by Lily Fogg. Prologue, Lights Up. Oh Sally My Dear is sung by Anne, Eliza, and Helen.
Oh Sally my dear, it's you I'd be kissing. Oh Sally my dear, it's you I'd be kissing. She smiled and replied, you don't know what you're missing.
Lights Up on Anne Lister's diary. Think illuminated manuscript, sacred text. The sound of sparkling. Scene 1, evening. The feeling of a candlelit town council chamber. The diaries pass between the three counselors with fear, reverence, and titillation. This meeting is called to order. The date is September 15, 1905. It's been 1 month since the death of William Lister, the last remaining Lister relative. His will was opened, and the family estate Shibden Hall was given over to the city. The goated diaries of his notable great-aunt, Anne Lister, were discovered. I'm sure we've all heard stories of Miss Lister and her, masculine singularities.
Oh, yes!
Luckily, the diaries have been partially decoded.
How? We're not sure. There's some suspicion that her descendants began decoding them.
Today, we must decide if the diary should be further decoded and made publicly available. The floor is now open for debate.
Well, counselors, I have, concerns about the, content. Exactly.
Oh, I understand, counselor.
We want to know.
We want to be sure.
We need to be sure.
If we're going to allow the public to see this.
But we have to be certain. We must be certain that, well, it's safe for public consumption.
For public consumption. You see, codes are very dangerous.
Oh, extremely dangerous. The French used codes during the war. That's right, they did.
Bastards.
But we also use codes. And we're the most dangerous army in the world.
Yes, sir, damn right we are.
Why did she need to put it in code?
What could be so horrible that she had to put it in code?
What was she trying to hide? And once we decode them, there's no going back. That's right, there are no take-backs with the code.
This is not a children's game.
Although we are concerned about the children.
Very concerned.
If our children got their hands on these diaries,
would it inspire?
Would it inspire them? They could be corrupted.
And people are going to talk.
The Listers are still a well-known Halifax family. Well, how could they not talk? We want to know.
I mean, we don't really want to know.
We want to speculate. We want to wonder in hushed tones and in our own parlors about what went on there. In the attic.
The attic?
You haven't heard?
No.
Well, one of Lister's descendants, a relative, he began decoding and discovered that in the attic... This was the attic at Shibden Hall? No, at the Manor House School, where Lister attended in 1805. Not too far away, in York.
Not much is known about her time there.
Until now. There are always rumors.
Is there anyone alive who remembers her?
No, not anymore.
What went on there?
We don't
really
want to know what happened between those walls between her.
That's enough. No further questions at this time. Let's begin. The sound of a gavel. Scene 2. Anne is alone in the attic reading.
Hello? Hello? Anne Lister? Excuse me? I need help with my trunk. Your trunk? Yes. Oh, sorry, this isn't the storage room anymore. You'll have to go down the hall. I was also told this was my room? No, you are mistaken. The dormitories are also downstairs. Oh, I know. My cousin Helen is there. And I'm sure you'll be joining her? They're completely full. Matron told me we'll be sharing. That isn't possible. They're definitely full. My cousin took the last bunk. Well, nobody told me you'd be arriving. Can you just help me with the trunk? I'm sorry, but I'll have to speak to Matron about this. I didn't agree to this, and if I write to my father and tell him that this was done without my consultation...
And we don't need your approval to give you a roommate.
This room is barely big enough for one person, Matron. We've been through this.
Would you prefer we found a way to squeeze you in with the other girls?
No, but isn't there...
You haven't brought your trunk up yet?
No.
And help Eliza with her trunk.
Yes, Matron.
Eliza, nice to meet you. We're very happy to receive you here. I'm the matron of the Manor House School. You girls are very lucky. The other 50 of you have to bunk together. And this is Eliza Rain. Eliza Rain, meet Anne Lister. Well, now we're all acquainted. Eliza, do you have everything you need?
Yes.
I'll see you both in class shortly. Hurry up.
So, we're roomies. It appears so. Yes.
School bell rings. All right, girls. I'd like you to welcome Eliza Rain to our class. She's just arrived. I'm sure you'll all do an excellent job of welcoming her into our sisterly arms. All right, take out your books. Who wants to read? Anyone? Anyone? No? Eliza, go ahead.
Oh, True politeness is the language of a good heart, and those possessing that heart will never, under any circumstances, be rude.
That's the Lady's Book of Politeness. We're reading from Metamorphoses. Keep up.
I have the right page, Matron.
Go ahead.
This is a story from the island of Crete. Telethusa, a humble wife, is pregnant. It is summer in Crete. Telethusa dreams of January weather. Lygdus dreams of a happy wife.
We're no longer in the classroom. We're in the world of the myth.
Get this baby out of me. It will all be over soon, Telethusa. Try and get some sleep. I haven't slept in weeks. The nurse said the baby was ready 10 days ago. I know. Should I tell the nurse to make the tea for you? Ha! Tea! You think a bundle of grass is going to evict our child from my body?
Hello, my name is Martin Kinch, and I'm coming to you from the traditional, ancestral, and unceded territory of the Musqueam people. Playwrights Guild of Canada is celebrating its 50th anniversary this year, and we are pleased to announce the new John Palmer Award. This award is generously supported by the family, friends, and colleagues of John Palmer. An award-winning playwright, theater director, and filmmaker, John Palmer was never afraid to shake things up. As a champion of homegrown Canadian theater, he made a career out of it. As a teacher and mentor, John was drawn towards young artists who rejected conventional ideas, and he inspired them to make an art that agitated the mainstream. John believed deeply in the power inherent in this activity. In 1976, he wrote the allegorical play Henrik Ibsen on the necessity of producing Norwegian drama, a short play in which he used the figure of the great iconoclastic Norwegian playwright to hold an unflattering mirror up to the Canadian theatre of the time, a cultural activity that he felt was a moribund mixture of foreign classics and recycled Broadway hits. The play took the form of an often funny tirade, a sustained disturbance of the piece, culminating in a dream. I quote, I have dreamed of going to any Norwegian theatre across this land and seeing a multitude of Norwegian, read Canadian, dramas from all regions, from all walks of life, in a multitude of styles, moods, and attitudes. I have dreamed of my grandchildren attending a theatre in which there is another kind of conflict, in which young playwrights will say to us, enough, the Norwegian theatre is sinking in the mire of its own aging. Enough of Ibsen and all the old fogies. Produce one a year if you have to, but let us have a new Norwegian drama better than the old. Yes, we can do better. Being the very first year for this special award, it's my pleasure to announce the nominees. The nominees are Louise Casemore, nominated by Vern Thiessen, Santiago Guzman, nominated by Pamela Halstead, and Stephen Jackman Torkov, nominated by Sunny Drake. Congratulations.
Hi, I'm Stephen Massicott, and my play, The Oxford Roof Climbers Rebellion, was the Carol Bolt Award winner in 2007. It was quite exhilarating to win the award, as it was the first time I'd won an award outside of Calgary or Alberta, and it was on a national level, so it was really quite a boost for me to know that my plays were going out into the world. It was also quite special to me because my dad was able to attend the awards banquet in Ottawa, and he had missed out on a lot of that kind of stuff when I was growing up, so it was very special to me and special to him. I'm going to read a little section from this wonderful play, Democracy, by the astounding John Morrell. This play about Walt Whitman and Ralph Waldo Emerson was quite inspirational to me about how to write about historical figures and historical times and ideas. And there's a little section here that I really like, which is a lovely thing to remember about what we're trying to do as writers and what I try to do as a writer. Always remember these days and these brief eternal nights, these sweet old songs, and the penetrating beauty of all of the things of this earth and in this earth, as seen by me and my comrades. Remember. Believe.
Hello, I'm Kelly Jo Burke, and in 2017, I won what was then called the PGC Stage West Pichette Family Musical Award for Us, along with songwriter Jeffrey Straker. It is hard to explain how much that meant. Please understand that while I'd been a playwright for some time, it was my first musical. And in many ways, it was quite unlike a traditional musical because I didn't really know what I was doing. And I didn't really like musicals. I like words. I like words with music, and I like words with music on stage, but I don't particularly like musicals. So I didn't know whether what I had done would fly at all. So that kind of affirmation from that level of jury was dizzying. I will never stop being grateful. I was asked for a favorite line from a Canadian play, and I'm going to have to go to Homegrown. The play's called Dog Barked. It premiered at Dancing Sky Theatre in Saskatchewan, and it was written by James O'Shea. And it is stupid funny. I love and revere funny, so this has to be my favorite. The line from the play that I really love is a tiny one. The setup is that two sophisticates from Toronto break down in a town called Dog Barked, somewhere in rural Saskatchewan, and deal with the two remaining inhabitants, getting Western bluster from an angry older brother and monosyllables from an oil-streaked younger brother. Until sophisticate number two finally blurts out to the younger, "How in God's name do you live here?" And the younger says, "Well, I think it's protected me from the worst excesses of postmodernism." Maybe you had to be there, but I'm still laughing.
Hello, my name is Anushri Roy, and I won the Carol Bolt Prize in 2011 for my play Brothel Number 9. It was such an incredible experience to win that prize, and I remember it having such a remarkable influence on the trajectory of my career, and I have truly forever been grateful for getting that prize. And one of my favorite Canadian plays is one of my favorite Canadian authors is Cliff Cardinal. I have it all earmarked as well. I don't have a favorite quote from this because everything in this play I just love, but Huff by Cliff Cardinal is one of my all-time favorites. So I'd pitch to check it out. Thank you.
We're Rita and Rex Deverell, and we wish to acknowledge the land that has sheltered us for about the last 30 years, the land of the Three Fires Confederacy, the Ojibwe, the Odawa, the Potawatomi, near Orillia, Ontario.
Congratulations, Playwrights Guild of Canada. This is your 50th, imagine, 50th anniversary. I was there 50 years ago when Carol Bolt and Tom Hendry invited us to a room in a library uptown in Toronto to ask a group of playwrights, people, a handful really, who had written some scripts, if we would like to belong, create an organization to promote Canadian playwrights and to have our work distributed and to have some kind of an agreement with theaters about the kind of compensation we should get, the fair kind of compensation. There weren't any rules about that up until that point. So a group of us turned up and the organization got started. After that happened for a few years, we managed to get a meeting with the Professional Association of Canadian Theatres, PACT, and we sat down with them to negotiate some fair compensation and rules around our writing. Now, PACT said that they did not want the threat of a collective agreement hanging over their heads. So we sat in that room, and I think it was Paul Ledoux who took a copy of what we wanted in this negotiation and stuck it up on the ceiling. The negotiators from PACT didn't know that they actually had a collective agreement hanging over their heads. Anyway, we negotiated guidelines which eventually evolved into an agreement between theaters and playwrights about the kinds of treatment that playwrights should get and our responsibilities to the theaters, the producers.
Canadian plays that have inspired us. While Rex was doing all of this organizing, he was playwright in residence at the Globe Theatre in Regina. And I'm going to quote from one of his plays, Boiler Room Suite. Now, before you think that that's really very nice, I should say that he didn't write the play for me, nor has he ever written a play for me. Nonetheless, this is a line that inspires me. It's from Aggie Rose, who is of an indeterminate age, drinks too much, and is in the boiler room of a prairie hotel. Here's the line. We were ahead of our time. People should have sympathy with those who try to do the impossible.
Thank you, Rita. I'll try and get around to writing that play, but
don't rush.
One of my favorite plays is Richard Greenblatt and Ted Dykstra's play Two Pianos, Four Hands. We sat in the Gods at the Royal Alex when the first production of that was happening, and I practically fell down the aisle. The line that has stuck with me, I can't remember right at the moment. I have to kind of just remember the moment. And the moment was after all of the piano lessons these two had had and their attempts to perform, they finally come to the conclusion of the play that they will never be the best piano players in the world. They won't be the best even in the country, but they might just be the best pianists in their neighborhood. I think that's the road to happiness.
We're here to present the award for Theater for Young Audiences. The other thing I was doing while Rex was doing all this organizing was being an actor on the Globe Theatre School tour. So we did 200 performances for young audiences in 1971-72. And that's where I learned the importance of this work. For several years, this award was sponsored by our good friend Larry Enkin in honor of his wife Sharon, who had passed away. And we are very grateful to them for that time.
Just last February, Larry himself passed away. We miss him. But now the Playwrights Guild is continuing to sponsor this award. The Theatre for Audiences, Young Audiences Award is given to a member of the Playwrights Guild of Canada who is new or recently, who has a new or recently premiered play for young audiences.
And the Playwrights Guild would like to thank the jury, Tracy Carroll as the chair, and Scott Button and Katie German as the jurors.
And the nominees for this theater award for young audiences are...
Big drum roll. The play is Gather by Julia Lederer and Julie Ritchie.
Homeroom by Rachel Mutombo.
Swan Girl by Kathleen McDonald. Congratulations.
The Sinkhole, or 6 Ways to Disappear, by Ajani Poye.
It's a hot, humid summer in the city. Our scene is set in the back alley courtyard of a 2-story apartment building with narrow staircases and functional back balconies.
This is the kind of building where people use the back door to come and go, more so than the front. Overnight, a large and ominous sinkhole has cracked open in the middle of the courtyard. She is thousands of years old.
The neighbors attempt to go about their lives.
Scene 4. Rue leaves her apartment in a disorganized rush. She's trying to exit the premises unseen. Mab spots her and is outside in a flash.
Rue! Hey, I see you seeing me.
Rue pauses a moment, decides to try and leave without engaging.
Hey!
I'm not here.
Yes, you are.
No, I'm not.
A stare down.
You got the food I left at your door?
Yes, I did. Thank you, but I didn't ask you to make
It's
me anything.
nothing I had extra.
I have got to go.
I need a favor.
I'm in a rush.
A quick favor.
Sure. What is it?
You have to move her car.
What?
Elsie's car. She parked in the spot while my Toyota was in the shop. And by the way, you wouldn't believe the price I had to pay to fix what I don't even think was a problem in the first place. That's how they get you. You go in for an oil change, and then before you know it, there's this, that, and the other thing wrong with it. And
Nabs.
Right. I need the spot, and her car is still sitting there. Where am I supposed to park?
Get her to move it.
She won't answer my calls.
I can't move her car.
Why not?
Because it's hers, not mine. I'm not in charge of her shit.
And Benita has come out of her apartment with an oversized tote bag.
I thought you two were joined at the hip.
We're not children.
Oh, I know. Get Elsie to move the car.
Tell her yourself.
She's not home.
Ah, you're so quiet over there, sneaking up like a little rat.
Mams, what the hell? Don't call her that. She's just a kid.
You're rude. You know that? What is wrong with you today? Your brow is so furrowed, it's ugly. Elsie would never speak to me like this.
Then you should speak to her. Rue leaves in a huff.
We'll talk about this later.
You haven't seen Elsie today either?
If I had, I wouldn't be in this mess.
Benita notices the pot of food next to Elsie's door.
Did you leave this for her?
She didn't even put it in the fridge.
Is it supposed to be fuzzy?
You try and help people. You try and be virtuous and do things for others, and this is how they thank you.
Mabs attempts to slam back into the apartment, but the door jams.
I told them this was broken, but do they listen? Do they fix it? Ah!
She slams it triumphantly. Benita knocks on Elsie's door. No answer. She peers inside the window.
Hello? Are you in there?
She peers harder.
Oh, it's a mess in there. Your stuff is everywhere. Weird. You're like the most organized person I know. I'm gonna go to the library. They have air conditioning, and at least books make sense to me.
Benita leaves. Scene 6. Mabs speaks to the sinkhole. The sinkhole listens.
Some ways to disappear. Prison. Killed on the side of the highway. Not desirable anymore. Drowned in a pond. Forgotten. Hermit. Irrelevant. Witness protection program. Unrecorded death. He doesn't call you anymore. There are differences between these things, obviously, and similarities. Good Lord, what am I talking about?
The sinkhole sings Mab's melody. Mabs grabs her broom and rushes down to the sinkhole. She begins furiously sweeping rocks and gravel into it.
You can't show up unannounced like this. It's impolite, rude, very, very rude. People need time. I need time to. You don't just spring things on people. And you look terrible, by the way.
The sinkhole growls.
I'm sorry, but you do. Some nerve showing up looking so ugly. Ugly, ugly, ugly. No respect.
The sinkhole laughs.
But now you're here. What can I do? You win. He won't answer my calls. He changed his number or blocked me or something. I don't understand how all these things work. So anyway, I showed up at his house, but oh dear. Young people are infatuated with therapy. I say, you live and then you die, and in between, you try your best. Eventually, the few people who really knew you, they die too. Then no one speaks your name anymore, and that's it. You're really gone. The world keeps turning. That's life.
The sinkhole hisses.
That's Life.
Mabs disappears. Time passes. Scene 8. Bonita picks up a book from her stack and finds a bookmarked page.
Listen to this. The ground beneath our feet, highways, and our cities appears to be very sturdy. But on rare occasions, that solid ground can simply open up without warning, dropping whatever it was supporting into an unpredictably deep hole. Sinkholes can be anywhere from a few feet wide and deep to 2,000 feet in diameter and depth.
Bonita pointing to the sinkhole.
Exhibit A. Wild, right? I love books. Good, predictable, faithful, beautiful facts, indisputable truths.
Bonita kisses the book.
Don't laugh at me. I do research online as well, but I prefer to see things on the page. The page can't change while I'm reading it. Only I have access to it at that moment. I am in control.
The sinkhole hisses. Bonita makes a point of ignoring the strange sound.
It seems like a sinkhole is usually an urgent situation. They swallow things. Cars, trees, homes. Have you figured anything out yet? No one else gives a shit, and to be honest, I'm starting to worry.
Bonita loads her pile of books into her oversized tote bag and heads out to the library. Time passes.
Good evening. My name is Kelly Jo Burke, and I'm the chair of the Women's Caucus of the Playwrights Guild of Canada. And I'm coming to you from Treaty 4 territory, the home of the Nehewak, Anishinaabeg, Lakota, Nakota, and Dakota, and the traditional lands of the Métis Mciv people. It's also called Regina, Saskatchewan. I'm here to announce the nominees for the Broad Door. The Broad Door is the oldest of PGC's awards. It was established in 2006 to recognize a theater professional or team for their support of women playwrights. Nominations are made by members of the Women's Caucus, but the entirety of PGC's membership votes on the winner. I'd like to thank our sponsors, Playwrights Canada Press and Scirocco Press, for their generous support of this award. And here are the exceptional nominees. Tracy Carroll, Co-Artistic Director of Concrete Theatre, Edmonton. Beverly Cooper, Playwright, Dramaturge, Director, and Actor, Toronto. Heidi Taylor, Artistic and Executive Director of Playwrights Theatre Centre, Vancouver. And the mother-daughter team of Christy McRae-Ziss and Hannah Ziss, co-artistic producers of Theatre Baddock, Cape Breton, Nova Scotia. Congratulations to all the nominees.
Hi, I'm Daniel Abrahamson, the 2019 recipient for the Tom Hendry Stage West Musical Award for The Stars of Mars. I don't win a lot of awards. A lot of artists and writers can easily feel isolated sometimes, working alone in the dark. So when I got the nomination and then the win, it was just the most wonderful little pat on the tush to keep going, keep exploring, and to keep finding a way to speak the truth, even if it makes my voice shake. Imagine the work that we wouldn't have out there today if we didn't get these little nudges from the community. So if you get the opportunity to get it, take it. It's amazing and it makes you so grateful to be appreciated. Thank you to everybody at the Playwrights Guild of Canada and everybody who puts this awards show together. It is so felt and so appreciated, and you are all awesome. And I'll leave you with some words from a couple Canadian musical theatre creators, Kevin Wong and Stephen Gallagher, latter of which who's off to represent Canada at NAMT this fall, so we're sending him our love. This is from their musical Drama 101, which is a little heartfelt tribute to putting on a show. You close the show and strike the set and have a cry, but what you've found and what we've built is never done. And as you go, so many lessons still apply. Lessons that you first learned here in Drama 101. Thank you again. Congrats to all the winners and nominees tonight, and have a beautiful night, everybody.
Hi there, Vern Thiessen here. I won the Carol Bolt Award in 2009 for my play Vimy, and it was special on a lot of different levels, but mainly it's because I had met Carol Bolt, and she was a great writer, great advocate for playwrights, and her plays stand up extremely well. And it makes me think also of my own mentors, particularly of John Morrell, whose work I'm very, very fond of and look back to. And here is a quote from John Morrell that I'd like to share with you because it sums up playwriting to me. It's from Democracy. Into further and further beauty, which is not known to us, but which seems to me to sing so sweetly. Take care.
Hi, I'm David Hine.
And I'm Irene Sankoff.
We're the writers of Come From Away, which is what we won our Tom Hendry Award for. We remember years ago when we didn't know many people in the theater community, and
we still don't.
We still, yeah, it's kind of true.
Introduce yourself.
But the Tom Hendry Award encouraged us to keep moving forward and gave us a huge boost of help when we needed it.
I was really inspired by and continue to be inspired by the work of Daniel Mciver because it is so wonderfully theatrical, and the words are like music, the way they come across. I did my acting thesis back a long time ago, and I did
in America.
In America,
doing a Canadian play, which no one had
got
knew
a
of.
lot of pushback. Just saying. And you know, there still is pushback down here sometimes. But anyway, it was Never Swim Alone, and I still remember two important things, and it's also a good writing lesson: cut through the water to the point, and you will float or you will sink. And if you float, you will feel as if flying, and if you sink, you will bounce like a man on the moon.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Greetings, I'm Paul Ledoux, and I'm speaking to you today from Snake Island, part of the Georgina Island First Nation. Snake Island is named after Chief Joseph Snake, a leader of the Ojibwe Chippewas, and part of the group who successfully opposed the corrupt practices of Lieutenant Governor Francis Bond Head. The struggle for Indigenous rights continues, and we all have a part to play in that struggle. I would like to express my gratitude to the Georgina First Nation for their stewardship of this land and their kindness in sharing its beauty and peace. Well, I've had the good fortune to be a member of the Playwrights Guild of Canada from very early on in its existence, and I'm proud to say I served as chair on 3 occasions under 2 wonderful executive directors, Jane Buss and Angela Ribeiro. So it's hard to come up with a single memory, but one story comes to mind. There's always been this tension between the publishing and advocacy roles of the Guild, although both parts of our work have been important. At times this has led to intense internal battles, and at one point a real schism. A new organization, the Guild of Canadian Playwrights, was created, primarily to fight for standard minimum contracts. The 2 groups battled it out for funding until a conflict was resolved by our merger as the Playwrights Union of Canada. Puck is still my favorite name for this organization. But our dual roles created funding struggles, especially at the Canada Council, who, at the time, had different models for arts service organizations and publishers. We found ourselves falling between 2 stools, and as we grew and prospered, we needed more support. Finally, Angela and I went to Ottawa to make the case for our unique situation. We were a good team. Her, rational, organized, and persuasive. Myself, passionate, jolly, and as charming as I could manage. Still, I was not sure we made our case successfully. This was a group of arts bureaucrats and jurists numbed with an endless parade of worthy organizations seeking much-needed funds. So, I ended my summation in a rather unorthodox manner. I stood, smiled, and said, "So, in closing," then pounded hard on the table and screamed, "Give us money! Give us money! Give us money!" A pause. Angela was appalled. But then the laughter began, and we got the funding we needed.
I've also been asked to quote a line from a Canadian play that has influenced me. The play is Cruel Tears, a musical written by Ken Mitchell with songs by Humphrey and the Dump Trucks. I first saw it when I was working as a bartender at Centaur Theatre in Montreal. It was a country music adaptation of Othello, and it taught me that musicals built around popular music forms and very Canadian themes could and would be hits. And since this is a musical theater award, I've chosen a lyric. She was a lady of the prairie, though she thought she'd never marry. I sold that girl. We left that one-horse town. I took her far off to the city. She was looking awful pretty. Then one day I turned and she was gone. She melted like a vision. I can still taste her kissing. She left me standing in the prairie evening sun. Yodel, oh, 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 oh. Tonight, I'm honored to present the nominees for this year's Dan School of Drama and Music Award. It's given annually to a Guild member for a musical that has not yet received its premiere. Funding has been generously provided by our sponsor, the Dan School of Drama and Music at Queen's University. Queen's has a long history of support for Canadian drama and musicals, with many playwrights serving on its faculty, including Daniel David Moses, Kim Renders, John Lazarus, Craig Walker, and Colleen Murphy. And finally, the Playwrights Guild of Canada would like to thank our jury, Chair Avery Jean Brennan, and jurors Amanda Trapp and Lindsay Kite. The nominees for the musical award are Genevieve by Jesse Lavercombe and Adrian Shepard Gomaninski, Parlor Tricks by Jamie Bradley and Scott Owen, Starwalker by Corey Payette. Congratulations to you all. Cheers.
Hi, I'm Amy Rutherford. I won the Tom Hendry Carol Bolt Award in 2018 for my play Mortified. It was truly a highlight of my theater career. I felt validated and welcomed into a community, and really encouraged to continue my playwriting journey, which I am on still to this day. It was also just an extraordinary thing to hold evidence of my work when the play was actually published and I was able to hold it in my hands. Canadian plays that have inspired me, there are so many that I have seen and read over the years. I find them inspiring always. Some that come to mind, Susanna Fournier's The Empire trilogy was just breathtaking in its scope and invention. And there are many one-person shows that have stuck in my heart by Anand Rajaram, Zorana Sadik, Daniel Mciver, Haley McGee, Karen Hines. Crawl Space is incredible. I love her tone, and it's always clever and vibrant. And I also really loved the Chops Pathetic Fallacy, which was created in 2020. So yeah, those are my thoughts today. Thank you so much, and have a wonderful day. Bye.
Annie, hello. My name is Yolanda Bennell, and I was the winner of the Tom Hendry Award for Drama last year in 2021 for my play My Sister's Rage, which actually opens up at Tarragon October 20th and plays to November 6th. And yeah, it was a deep honor to win that award. Especially it was I think the first one for that particular award. And I just remember being so incredibly surprised. There were such incredible plays that were nominated alongside with me. And I was asked to share a line from one of my favorite plays. And so I'm going to do that now. The line is, "They did such a good job of colonizing us that we couldn't see it. I just keep thinking there will be a new headline that explains to me some other atrocity I didn't really know about, but I knew about, but I couldn't see. That's from Phelan Johnson's Two Indians, which I have performed in before, and that line has always stuck with me. And I encourage you to read it because it's a fantastic play. Bamapi, miigwech, good luck everyone, and congratulations to the winners. Woo!
Hello, congratulations nominees. My name is Kevin Wong, and I am a former recipient of the Tom Hendry Best New Musical Prize. I won in 2018 for The Preposterous Predicament of Polly Peel, co-written with the fabulous Julie Tepperman, and then again in 2021 for the musical In Real Life, co-written with the effervescent Nick Green. Getting to win this award was incredibly validating and really exciting because the jury of your peers is comprised of so many people who are writing musicals alongside with you, or writing plays if you're in a play category, and getting their validation that they like your work is so incredibly affirming. And honestly, the Playwrights Guild of Canada is just a really fancy title, and I have been milking that credential ever since. Anytime someone reads my bio, I make sure that they read out the Playwrights Guild of Canada credential because it makes me sound fancy. So my chosen line from a Canadian musical that has inspired me is from 2020's winner Kelly vs. Kelly, written by Sarah Farb and Britta Johnson. So here we go. Do not be afraid. Dancing is just moving. Moving is just feeling the music. The music. And that's it. Enjoy and congratulations again.
Ani, Kwekwe, Yvette Nadijnikas. Hi, my name is Yvette, and I am beaming into you from Toronto, although I normally live in Treaty 6, in Cree Territory, homeland of the Métis, in Saskatoon. Before I ever joined the Playwrights Guild of Canada, which at the time was the Playwrights Union of Canada, they sent me to Australia to the International Women's Playwrights Conference. And there in Adelaide, we were called to stand by country. And I stood when they called us with all of the other Canadian women playwrights. And I was humbled and proud and amazed to see how many of us we were. And I determined at that point to earn the right to stand with them. I am probably a playwright because of Judith Thompson and seeing an early production of The Crackwalker at the Edmonton Fringe Festival. There's that opening where Trees comes on stage and she says, "Shut up, mouth. I'm not going back there no more, no way. I'm going back to Sandy's." And I was like, what kind of a ride are we on now? And towards the end of that monologue, the opening monologue, she tells us that Mrs. Bettison make me put on her stupid robe, itch my skin, and smell like chocolate bars and that. And to this day, when my skin is itchy, I think, itch my skin and smell like chocolate. So Judith is stuck in me. I'm here to tell you about the nominees for the New Drama Award, which is given to a PGC member for a drama which has not yet had a professional premiere production and has not been published. Funding for this award is generously sponsored by the Manitoba Association of Playwrights, Playwrights Atlantic Resource Centre, Playwrights Canada Press, Playwrights Workshop Montreal, the Playwrights Theatre Centre, Saskatchewan Playwrights Centre, and the Playwrights Guild of Canada. Playwrights Guild of Canada would like to thank the jury, Kanika Ambrose as the chair, and Chris Lamb and Josh Languedoc as the jurors. The nominees for the drama are Cockroach by Hokake, Common, a trilogy by Mary Beth Badian, and Highway by Maggie Feehan.
On behalf of the Board of Directors and staff of Playwrights Guild of Canada, thank you for joining us this evening. Congratulations not only to the shortlisted playwrights announced tonight, but to everyone who chooses to create work to be shared on stages across Turtle Island. Please join us on Sunday, October 30th at 7 p.m. Eastern when we air the Tom Hendry Awards Gala program. Good night.